everybody. So I hope you're having a good week. If not, it's Thursday. Trust me, I'm in a long stretch for the end of the school year, but it's gonna be all right. Um, so I wanted to get on here, and I don't like to do this kind of thing often, like stuff like the Tennessee Three, which I really call a Tennessee Two, because Justin Pearson and Justin Jones were expelled and then reinstated because they were black. The white woman was spared because she was white. Let's keep it real. But this thing with Jonathan Majors, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here. I am somebody who appreciates anybody who is great at something, who works hard at something, and develops any kind of craft, well, whatever it may be. I can respect hard work because I'm somebody who has worked hard my whole life. Because I had to, and because now I feel like it's just the only way to be. And Jonathan Majors, for me, is one of those people that I saw as an exceptional actor. Exceptional. He, just in this short rise to fame, the stuff I've seen him in or the stuff I watch, sometimes I just watched it because he was in it. And I'll be honest, I never, and I'm not talking about, the early pictures of him when he was younger, I never thought he was attractive at all. And usually that is something that draws me to watch certain men in movies. Now me, I'm not gonna even start talking about how I feel about Michael B. Jordan, and I feel like his acting is bad, but that's just me. And I think people are distracted by his face, and understandably so. But and I just have to say, this news about him assaulting a girlfriend is disappointing to me. And I know people are like, "Oh, we wait until we have all the facts. We want to make sure we know," and I think that is appropriate. I do, because I do think when it's the court of public opinion, we do have to be careful, right? What we listen to, what we accept as truth, and what we accept as fact. However, when I first heard about this, when I say I'm disappointed, because I saw his career, a lot of millennial actors, and I'm 35, he's like, what, 33? I don't think are good actors. I don't think Michael B. Jordan's a good actor. I think Journey Smollett's an excellent actor. I think Jonathan Majors does excellent work. Um, I think Zendaya does good work, but she's Gen Z. We know the Regina Kings of the world, the Generation X. Like, I just don't think there's a lot of great millennial actors. I just don't. For whatever reason, I feel like we're great at so many other things. But for some reason, the ones that get famous, I just don't think they're that good. But anyway, I I remember hearing the news and them saying that he got into an altercation with a girlfriend, was arrested, and it was like hitting, strangulation, and something else. But it was the strangulation that clicked in my mind. And I knew, or I felt instinctively, that there was probably a great level of truth. And I don't know what it is with stars with money nowadays. Back in the day when we had Johnny Cochran and he was the baddest motherfucker on the planet, that's who you called when you got in trouble, and he wasn't up here making no goddamn fool out of everybody. And it's not just simply because of social media, because it wasn't like they didn't have press and CNN and he didn't speak, but he knew how to work the media. When I saw the releasing of those text messages, and strangulation is a typical behavior of an abusive man. It is. Biting, things like that. And when I saw that text message they released where she's saying she's sorry, this, that, and the other, and I don't know whose dumbass thought that was a good idea, but to me it made things worse and more murky. Because whoever this woman was, she was still leaving the hospital for injuries. The hospital. Okay? I work at school. I had bumped into doors. Kids have kicked me. I don't go to the hospital over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she had to go to a hospital, right? Police were called, so on and so forth. And then for her to say, and I knew she was white. Everybody was like, oh, it's probably a white chick because she told him this, that, and the other. I'm going to break that down in a second. I knew she was white because she said, well, I told the police they don't have my blessing to continue doing this. Since when do the motherfucking police need anybody's blessing to do what the fuck they gonna do? That's how I knew she wasn't black, because when no black person have said that. When no black person have assumed that police officers gave a damn about their blessing. And I was like, oh, I know she's white. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The text messages seem fake to me. That's why I said whoever did them still fucked it up. Because the person's still supposedly leaving the hospital. The person is saying that the police don't have their blessing. And we don't see what was before or after. And honestly, even if it is true, and I'm saying this as somebody who's not giving him a pass, they just seem fake to me. Even if it is true that she sent these text messages, it sounded very typical of an abused woman. Okay? He called the police to try to make himself look like the victim. Abusers do that. And then they act really calm once they get there and say, I didn't want this to escalate, so on and so forth. And this is all about her snatching the phone from him because, he was probably texting another woman, and we all know how that goes. And it went too far. And the more I thought about it, the more deeply disappointing it got, not to mention the comments on the internet. Because I find it amazing. And I do think, don't get me wrong, in this case, and I think in all cases, there needs to be a level of indictment first, actual indictment, charges brought, so on and so forth, right? And then there are things that happen that we believe or don't believe. And what was troublesome to me was when I was watching something on YouTube, and it's a popular channel, and there were two black men talking about it when it first happened. And he was like, oh, I know this girl was white because a black woman wouldn't have called the police on him. They would have tried to talk it out and work it out. Pause. When it comes to domestic violence, I'm going to tell you right now, I can read somebody for fucking filth, call you out on your fucking racism, but that is something I don't wish on my worst enemy. I don't. And when he said that, I was like, that is not a fucking badge of honor. That black women will endure abuse to protect you from the police while you abuse them. And that's why the rift between black men and black women has gotten so deep. Because that very much so became a thing of the 60s. And it's not that we don't understand. Black women, by and large, don't deny the things that happen to black men. In fact, they're the first ones often to defend them. But black men don't do the same for us. Need I remind you the murder of Corinne Gaines in Baltimore? And when she was murdered by the police, who busted in her home, immediately, these were black men as well, pulled up videos just like white supremacists do or white people do to make excuses for the police. And we're like, well, that's what she gets. She was running her mouth on YouTube. Da-da-da-da-da. Black women talk too much. They don't know this, that, and the other. And so I can't get with that. That, oh, we know she's white because she told on him. It's not her job to endure abuse because he's a black man who's famous and has money. That's unacceptable. And I can guarantee you, if they were in a relationship, this wasn't the first time. This wasn't the first time. Very few women in those situations call the police the first time. And, I said this before, like I've had personal experiences, not necessarily with me, but I went to a women's college where I had at least 2 friends that were in terrible situations like that. And it was months before I even knew. And one of whom I was rooming with. So it bothers me to my soul when I hear that. That's not a badge of honor. 2, then I was reading some comments from people, from black women who were kind of like, well, this isn't our fight. This isn't our problem. And I understand why they have that attitude. Because black men don't defend us with the same energy. And I can understand kind of holding your energy for something else. However, the abuse of women who are physically abused by romantic partners and eventually murdered by them is very high amongst black women and is very common among the ways in which women die violently. And so I can't say this isn't my fight per se, because I'm against domestic violence. And I know that if it can happen to white girls without consequence, white women without consequence, it can damn sure happen to us without consequence. And so that's my fear. Now, we know the justice system will take care of her. But I think it became even more disappointing. I don't know what the fuck this is, where people go and get a famous lawyer because other people have used them. Like Jonathan Majors had Jen Shah's lawyer, like she's not gonna serve time, and she was guilty as fuck. These people are no Johnny Coggers. I am sorry. Remember Stormy Daniels' attorney? I forget what his name was, but he ended up going to federal prison. And whatever, Stormy Daniels, and we know Stormy Daniels ain't lying about everything with Donald Trump. But I am saying, what's his name? Avenatti, Michael Avenatti. Like, he got into legal trouble but he was on Twitter. He was supposed to be representing the girls for R. Kelly. The Greenberg guy was trying to represent R. Kelly. And then the girls against him were supposed to be partially represented by Avenatti. And they're just like Twitter fingers going off. Like, I don't know what has happened, but the standard has been cut. Okay? And I am somebody who believes in high standards. And while I think Jonathan Majors' potential is great, and I do believe that there needs to be a process, I do believe that race is a factor. The fact that he's losing jobs left and right and left and right, and there hasn't been a formal indictment of crimes or substantial proof. I don't think they'd be doing this to a white man who's big and Ant-Man and who's, hitting all these movies, so on and so forth. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. And if Jonathan Majors did this, there should be consequences. Now, Lawrence Fishburne has been open that he was physically abusive to his wife when he was younger. He got married early, like about 23, and said he had a great black therapist that helped him work through it to not be like that again. They divorced, of course, and he inflicted that trauma on her. Maybe that's why he played Ike so well. But your career doesn't have to be over. Now, we can also argue that the world doesn't value black women, because they don't, and our pain and our trauma in the same way. So maybe Lawrence Fishburne could continue and even play things like Ike Turner and his career never suffer. Because who you commit crimes against matters in terms of whether you're punished or not and how you're punished. And so I'm just kind of thinking through this thing. I'm not into this defending him until he's proven not guilty, because men who abuse women get off all the time. And when these other women started coming out, I was like, ugh. Not to mention there was an African-American, I think African-American queer director, I'm not sure what her pronouns are or what their pronouns are, had come out and said that, there's bad energy on the set all the time. Now, my thing is that doesn't automatically make somebody an abuser. It makes somebody an asshole. But my response to that was kind of like, well, he's an actor. Most of these people are assholes. I mean, like, that almost is a prerequisite to be in the business. And so I'm just disappointed. Because I think when we talk about people's health and people getting in shape for parts, losing weight, gaining weight, building their muscles, that's considered something that you do to take care of yourself so that you can continue to get work, right? We talk about keeping up your physical appearance, taking care of your skin, so on and so forth. That's considered part of your craft because you have to be in front of the camera, so on and so forth. So when it comes to your temperament, to the point where you put your hands on women, and we're talking about women specifically, and no, I don't respect men who put their hands on women, period. I'm not into this. Yes, people should keep their hands to themselves, but the bottom line is men have the power to hurt women physically in a way women do not have. Period. I'm not even going to argue about that shit. Okay? So, yes, we can argue that. But Jonathan Majors, the first time something like that happened, you should have sought help. Because you're a millennial and you've grown up in this time where we don't seem to get the space of, oh, that's just them at work, and then this is them at home. That somehow it becomes blended and you're judged by that. Sean Connery basically sat in front of Barbara Walters and said he beats his wife and smacks her when she talks too much. There were never any repercussions. Nothing. Barbara Walters reported on it and, gave one of those, little snide remarks, because I guess that's all she could do. But he didn't suffer in terms of his career. So, yes, I do believe some of these are happening to him because he's black. But at the same time, to defend this level of abuse and go, oh, yeah, it must be with white chicks, it doesn't matter. An abuser is an abuser is an abuser. A rose by any other name is still a rose. And I don't know what it is, however, with black people in particular when it comes to black men, be it Bill Cosby, be it R. Kelly, be it now Jonathan Majors, or whomever, that all of a sudden they get all this confidence in the justice system when black men are up, yeah, let's wait till we get all the facts. But we know damn well if somebody had shot the black person, we wouldn't believe those facts. We wouldn't believe them. Because we know, we've seen it. We've seen it done. And in a similar way, women who have been abused or have been in proximity to abuse know some things when they see it. And that's why when I heard strangle, something in my brain said, ooh. Now, I don't know whether it's true. And I would be happy to find out that it's not true. Because I admire Jonathan Majors' work. But at the same time, if he fucked this thing up and didn't think to get help and he thought it was okay to abuse women, first of all, the fact that it's hidden, the fact that it was his instinct to deny it, already tells you that he knows it's wrong. He just won't stop doing it. And multiple women, when it comes to domestic violence, it's scary and traumatizing for women. And, I just wanted to get on here and share my thoughts. And I really do encourage you all, to put down in the comments just what you think. And I know this is a touchy subject, but I think it's an important one for women to discuss. And I just have thoughts. I'm disappointed in him. And I'd rather put my energy in Ralph Yarl, the 16-year-old boy who's trying to recover because he was shot for going to the wrong house. That person could have straight up not opened the damn door. You know what I mean? I think there's some things worth defending automatically, because you want to know why we can defend that? Because we know why that happened to that black boy. It's just kind of how you can have enough experiences with abuse and things like that to know, And so I question it. I'm going to reserve my judgment. But I am saying that jumping on this train of he, must be innocent because we like his movies, that's dangerous. But the way he's being treated is also racist. But all of us as black people, as black women every day, go into work, go into world, into different spaces in society where we deal with that every single day. And it doesn't give us an excuse. Nobody gives us an excuse or space to feel and certainly react violently, even if people deserve it. So anyway, those are just my thoughts. So put down in the comments your thoughts. Be understanding as possible of other people's opinions. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye.